Okay, we're going to be looking at bones, the types of bones, and specifically going into the structure of a long bone here. So to start off with, there are four main types of bones. We have the long bone, short bone, flat bones, and irregular bones. So the long bones is probably what you think of when you think of a stereotypical bone. It's enlarged on both sides, it's longer than it is wide, and it really supports your weight and facilitates movement. And then the structure of the long bone specifically within we will go into in a second, but really a long bone is just everything that you take your big muscle groups, for example, say like your leg and quadriceps, hamstring group, that's where your long bone is. So your femur is actually the longest bone in your body. The next one is your flat bone. So your flat bone, it's shaped very thin, and that's the only reason for its name. Just because it's flat doesn't mean it can't be curved. It's just that the actual width of the bone, or I guess like the height of it, if you're looking at it from a different angle, is quite small. And there's not really much inside of it. It's really just serving as protection. So for example, your skull, even though it's curved this way, is a flat bone. Your ribs to protect your lungs and your organs are also flat bones. And then as well as your sternum, which is your breastbone. Okay, the next one we're gonna look at are short bones. So short bones are kind of just bones that are equal in length all around. So the width and their height are basically equal, and they're quite small in size, and they usually provide for like movement and really like precise motor movement. So they're really found in your metatarsals and your metacarpals, which are your fingers and your toes. And so if we think of like where most of the bones in our body are located, the really big ones, so this is definitely going to be a long bone, right? Because there's one bone through here, there's two actually, two bones through here. But if we look at our fingers, the reason we're able to perform such precise, like finite movements is because we have such like little small bones within them that can control each individual movement and be able to move really well. And the last one we have is the irregular bone, and these are bones that don't have an easily characterizable structure. They're kind of just like, they don't really fit into another category, and they have really specialized shapes to serve really specialized functions. So for example, your vertebrae, there's no other bone or set of bones like your vertebrae. And then also your pelvic girdle as well. Like these are bones that just, they have an irregular shape. Yeah, they have pretty complex shapes as well. So anyway, focusing in on the structure of a long bone. The structure of a long bone is pretty interesting because there are so many elements in it. So we're going to start with the articular cartilage, and this is the end that covers the articulating ends of the bones, because there's going to be something else that meets the bone here. And the articular cartilage is found on both ends, or just wherever the bone needs to meet another structure. And it just serves as a protection which reduces friction between the bones and absorbs shock. The next bit we're going to look at is the periosteum. So it's just a membrane covering the outer layer of the bone, and it's rich in nerves and blood vessels, which also contributes to pain sensitivity. Next is the medullary cavity, or the bone marrow cavity. And here it's like a hollow cylindrical space that houses the bone marrow within the diaphysis of the bone. And then right here we have the nutrient foramen, which is where the bone gets its nutrients from, right? So we have blood vessels that feed in, and it provides an opening for the nutrition and growth of the bone due to the artery that passes through it to provide, you know, oxygen and other minerals and nutrients through the blood. In the spongy bone, so over here, we actually have red bone marrow, which produces red blood cells, a process known as hematopoiesis. And then here we have the yellow bone marrow, which stores triglycerides, which are also fat, as energy. The spongy bone is quite like a honeycomb-like structure, and it reduces the weight of the bone and it distributes the force. Whereas this end, the epiphysis, this is just quite compact and hard and solid instead. So the diaphysis is the part of the bone that's quite hard and resists the stress of the weight, whereas here that's the spongy bone. Yeah, and then that's really everything on bones and the structure of bones in itself.